Well, let me ask you something, Truth Seeker. How would we react if all of a sudden somebody appeared in this country and made it very clear that they were here to defile the Constitution of the United States and proclaim themselves as the leader of the United States? What would we do to that person? I guess we would first ignore that person. I would assume it would be male. We would ignore him and consider him just to be another crazy loon from the cucumber branch of crazy people in this country. Or maybe he was a foreigner, but let's just assume he's an American. So it'd have to be one of these cucumber shitheads, the QAnon people, the cucumbers. So first we would ignore him. And if he persisted, I think the next thing we would do would be to maybe send some federal marshals to visit him and just tell him, look, pal, we're going to give you one more chance here. You can't just stand up and say you're going to take over the government, that you are going to be the leader. You can't do that. And the marshals would leave. And then this guy would persist. Only now he's getting lots of media attention from the Fox sewer and some of these other, as Trump puts it, shithole places on the internet. And everybody's paying attention to this guy while he proclaims he's going to ignore the Constitution. He's going to step on it on his way into being the leader of the country. Okay, so now the authorities are starting to take a look at this sorry son of a bitch a little bit differently. They're beginning to see him as the threat to the stability of this shaky republic that he really is. So the next time they would send out armed marshals and they would say to him, look, we better make this clear to you. You can say whatever you want to say, but if you make one move toward fulfilling what you're saying, you're going to be in trouble. And they leave again. Well, the nutcase continues to make his claim, and then the election day comes in this country, and somebody is elected president. I don't know, Democrat, Republican, whoever it is, that person is elected. But the asshole's been walking around saying he's going to be the president no matter what. All of a sudden now, we find him surrounded by a bunch of militia types, big beer-gutted, dumb-looking bastards who are saying, no, we're going to put him in the White House. Then what do we do? Well, at that point, I would imagine we would see maybe a squad or a platoon of Marines, combat ready, locked and loaded, approach this cluster of beer-bellied fat asses who are surrounding this crazy man, and they give an order to stand down, release the psycho in your midst while we have him committed. And if the beer-bellied phony soldiers don't stand down, then within seconds, they'll all be dead. And then the pretender to the presidency of the United States would be arrested, probably evaluated, and once he's evaluated psychologically, he would be placed in an asylum for the criminally insane, where he would spend the rest of his life. Don't you think that would happen? Well, isn't that what's happening now? We have a president of the United States who's only president because of help he got from his controllers in Russia, Vladimir Putin and the rest of the bully boys. He was defeated by the popular vote in 2016, and yet he's still the president of the United States. And he's saying that he doesn't give a rat's ass about the Constitution of the United States. He just may give everybody the middle finger and stay where he is. And if he were to lose, he is proclaiming, it's because the election was rigged. So either way, he's not going to leave. So at what point do we call out that squad of Marines and remove this son of a bitch. This is where we are. This is what Trump has done to this country. This is what he's done. And the mouth breathers who cluster around him, I saw the video from Tampa from the other day. I've lived in Tampa twice. And trust me when I tell you that when the world is given an enema, Tampa is where they're going to shove the tube. And there they were, several thousand white people of no color, looking like the jack-offs that they really are, clustered around Trump. And then Trump leaves and a bunch of these jack-offs fall to the ground from heat stroke, right? Mostly old people who are ready to die anyway, because it is Florida. And what a way to go, huh? Wouldn't you love to die, you crazy old bastards, at a pro-Trump rally? Well, wouldn't that be wonderful? This is what we're facing. This is what we're facing. And November 4th is going to be kind of a mindfuck. It's going to be bad. There's something in the New York Times today about how Trump has ruined this country. And it's a series of pieces written by 10 or 12 opinion writers, liberal and conservative. And there's 3 of them that I saw that I just absolutely have to share with you. The first one is by Roger Cohen. And one of the things that Trump has destroyed, he's destroyed so much, this filthy bastard, but one thing he's destroyed is the ability of other countries to take our word or to believe in what we're saying. And again, let me stipulate from the beginning here that I understand that we do not have a wonderfully clean, sterling reputation around the world. We have done some outrageously horrible war crimes. We have, the most recent during the George W. Bush administration. So I am not defending the possibility that the United States is innocent. We're not. But Trump has destroyed something that goes beyond the innocence. This is what Roger Cohen wrote. Tuesday's election will be seen globally as a referendum on the durability of democracy. If American democracy, long a beacon, cannot self-correct, then all democracies are at risk. European nations have watched with alarm as President Trump has set about undermining American democracy while attacking the very foundations, the European Union and NATO, that allowed war-torn Europe to become whole, democratic, and free. The Oval Office was once the focal point of the respect the United States commanded around the world. No longer. It has become impossible for democracies today to believe it is in their national interest to take Trump's America seriously. With this president, there are simply too many petulant reversals of course. The presidency and dishonesty have become synonymous. Alliances are founded on trust. When that goes, they begin to dissolve. Hence the talk in European capitals of the need to contain the United States, a verb once reserved for the Soviet Union. America, under Trump, has lost the credibility and legitimacy that were cornerstones of its influence. Allies believe a second Trump term could lead to the United States leaving NATO following the decision to leave the World Health Organization. Departure from the World Trade Organization is also possible. Trump has yet to encounter a multilateral organization he does not want dead. The values of liberty, democracy, freedom of expression, and the rule of law, for which the United States has stood, albeit with conspicuous failings over the post-war decades, have been abandoned. Despite the horrors of Vietnam and Abu Ghraib and Cold War support for dictatorial regimes, America led not just because it had a huge army and nuclear arsenal, but also because it shared beliefs with its allies and worked with them. The United States has become a values-free international actor under a president who has led a values-free life. Almost 4 years of Trump's rule has left an anchorless international order in which an old American-led system is now dead, and the new is not yet born. How far a Joe Biden presidency could reverse this dangerous drift is an open question, but the damage is deep. The old status quo will not return. A second Trump term of erratic American belligerence meeting growing Chinese assertiveness would be pregnant with the possibility of violence. The big powers would be on the march, freed of the multilateral safety net slowly constructed in the second half of the 20th century. America, the beacon, would be lost, and the world darker still. Roger Cohen adding his voice to how Trump has just totally wounded, injured, and to a certain extent destroyed this country. Every single pundit that I read who is not some right-wing cucumber or some crazy son of a bitch from Fox, everyone that I read, and it doesn't make any difference what the publication is, every organization that has standing around the world, here in the United States, every retired military leader, every retired diplomat, every single person who has had experience in governance or in observing governance or in writing about governance, all of them have made their position very clear. A continuation of this orange monster in the White House for another 4 years is the end of this democracy. Period. Full stop. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.